Jamal Bathia Show. So thankful that you would join me. This is Thursday, December 28th, 7 p.m. And we have a really good show lined up for you guys today. Uh, as the new year comes in, I think that it's important to talk about what we all kind of hope for in the new year, which is just maybe something amazing to happen. Or, they have New Year's resolutions and things of that nature where it's like, okay, this year is going to be the year, you know what I mean? And while I think that's great, I think what you guys should strive to do is what I'm doing this year. Let's make 2024 the last year that you say, oh, this is going to be the year, right? Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just jump out the window, so to speak, right? And let's really make some things happen this year. For me, 2023 was a bit of a weird year. Not a bad year. Some great things happened this year, but I thought it would be a little more of elevation. But I'm finding out that's 2024. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys can agree with me that 2023 in some ways didn't go the way you thought. But let's really break out of the habit of just every year. This is going to be the year. I was reading a study and it was saying that by February, the person's New Year resolution has already been. Now I'm pretty sure everybody there's approximately about 8 billion people on Earth. But at the end of the day, I know, just like I do, a lot of people who, oh, this year is going to be the year, it's going to be amazing. And then you lose it very quickly. But let's really make sure that we understand that this is only going to happen if you make it happen. And that's the whole Jamal Bathia show anyway. Inspiration, business, education, right? So the last episode I didn't do a word of the day. I mean, I always do word of the day. That's my thing. So my word of the day this year, for this episode, is just flexibility. Be flexible, because I think that's the other thing sometimes people are missing. You might start one place and you might end up somewhere totally different than you thought you would be, and you'll be just fine. Life sometimes can do that, and you got to just roll with the punches and go with it, right? A little short story before I get into the interview. Amazing guest here with me today. There's an actor, his name is Romani Malco. Romani Malco has been seen in movies like 40-Year-Old Virgin, or most notably, things like A Man, One and Two. He was a bald-head guy that got played Megan Good's character. Saw the funny scene where he pulled off because she wanted him to open the door. He said psych and came back. That guy. He was on a Breakfast Club. And I don't know if it was Charlemagne or Envy. They were like, I heard you used to rap. And he was like, oh, yeah, I did. But he's this actor guy, right? So it's funny because they were like, well, rap something. And he rapped and he went right into it. I mean, hands in the air, all of that. He just went. You could tell that this was something he really loved. At one point, probably thought, well, this will be it for me. But it kind of didn't. He ended up an actor. So he had to be flexible to kind of see where things were going and follow. And I think that's a big thing in business. Know how to be flexible and know how to move. When you feel that, maybe this over here is something that might be a little more of what I actually have been looking for versus maybe that over there, right? And so the reason I brought that up is because the person I'm interviewing today, I mean, she's done many things in business, right? And I think it's important to recognize that flexibility and that necessity to be able to say, hey, actually, I think this over here might actually serve my needs at this time, right? So what I want to do is, trust me, you guys are going to love this interview. So many gems are going to be dropped tonight. So the person I am interviewing today, her name is Taurea Avant. Taurea Vision Avant, to be exact. And I mean, she's just awesome, and just, she's most notably helping a lot of authors to really get paid off of what they do. And, it's a lot of authors out there, and sometimes they just don't make very much money off of the art that they create, right? Taurea Vision Avant is a resilient entrepreneur, two-time TEDx speaker, and an authorship mentor. Graduating from Hampton University with a degree in computer science, she overcame personal tragedies and moved to Atlanta in pursuit of success. Since 2014, Taurea has helped over 6,000 speakers, coaches, and people of the like become published authors, empowering them to share their stories and their self-help books, turning those into multiple streams of income. In 2019, she founded the Book Profits Club, guiding authors in promoting, performing, and profiting from their books. Yeah, we can all use a little more profit, wouldn't you say? I'm pretty sure he's the richest person in the world. He's a little more money. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring to the stage Miss Taurea Vision Avant. How are you?
Hello. Hey, I'm doing awesome. How about yourself, Jamal?
I'm doing good. Rolling into 2024. It's going to be amazing. I'm doing really good. I'm really good. How was your
Wonderful.
holiday and everything? Everything was good?
It was very peaceful. I didn't do anything.
That's the best time. Okay? Sometimes that is just the best time, man. Look, I didn't do much either. I had a week break and I was between like I feel guilty for being lazy and no, I'm gonna lay here another hour. So I definitely understand that. Um, First thing first with you. So what business, like what was the first business that you really got into? Like what really made you thirst for business?
Well, it's funny you asked that question because I've always had a thirst and a desire to be an entrepreneur. I would say as early as what, 18, 19. That was a while ago for me, but I always had a desire to be an entrepreneur. I tried everything though. So I used to always joke, or I still joke, I say I was a professional tripreneur, Jamal, because I've
Mm,
literally tried everything from vacuum cleaners, knives. I went door to door. I was a bail bondsman. I attempted to do life insurance. Like I was trying it all. But what's funny is that every single thing that I've ever attempted to do was all based on the circle that I was in or the surroundings, like my environment. So
yep.
being introduced to these opportunities, I saw someone else doing it, so I tried it for myself. And so I've always aspired to be an entrepreneur, but there
Hmm.
was a period of my life where I kept trying all these stuff and not really doing the work. You know what I mean? Like just signing up for the things. And
Hmm.
I eventually kind of got tired of trying stuff or signing up and not doing anything. And I stopped. And I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to do this corporate thing. I'm going to, work hard with this job. And hopefully one day I'll be able to earn some income. At that point, I was making about $26,000 a year. And
Hmm.
things shifted for me when my father was diagnosed with cancer, and that's when he did ultimately pass away. I made the decision at that moment that it was time for me to stop playing around. And so my first business that really had a level of success for me, or the first uh, space in entrepreneurship, was when I got into network marketing. And so I
Hmm.
was selling weight loss products and all types of stuff, and I learned how to hustle. Okay, so like I didn't
Yeah.
know, we didn't know what we were doing in that company, to be quite honest, other than hustling, slanging girdles, and get into the bag. And that's when I had like my first level of real success as far as making some kind of a profit in the
Hmm.
home-based business industry.
Okay. So it's funny you mentioned you really learned how to hustle because I was going to ask you next, like what skills or things did you learn that kind of carried until now? So like what
Yeah.
other things would you say, maybe little teeny things that are big now, but what are some of the things you really learned that carried you to this point?
Well, honestly, I will say one of the biggest things that I have learned through this journey of entrepreneurship is to never focus on the now and focus on where I'm going. So like don't look at what my current circumstance looks like. Don't look at my bank account. Don't look at the way my body looks. I mean, you can do this in every area of your life. Don't look at your relationship status. You must always constantly focus on where you're going and not
Yeah.
where you are, and especially not where you've been. Because if you focus on where you've been in the past, which majority of most people do, those are the people who like to get around the campfire and talk about what they used to do and who they used to be. Or you have the people that like to get around and be in the woe is me circle where, my life is this, my life. Well, listen, your life is where it is based on the actions that we take, not
Yeah.
necessarily what happens to us, is what we do. So for
Yeah.
me, one of my big, and this is a skill, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, because if it wasn't a skill, it would be something that we would naturally do. But I had to
Hmm.
learn how to focus on the end in mind and not focus on my current circumstance. This is why to this day, and then also having the backing of God. Like I'm a faithful woman, and
Absolutely.
I believe that God would never put me in any situation that I cannot get out of. So if I
Yeah.
just continue to focus on where I'm going, I know that it'll always work out in the end. So I believe that's one of my biggest skills that I've been able to obtain over the years.
Okay. Okay. Is there any one person that you felt was like really instrumental
Mhm.
in your like development as a businesswoman?
You know what's funny is when I saw this question, I was really like trying to figure out like because you know the normal question or the normal answer would be my parents were instrumental, which I mean, my mom was an amazing woman. She passed when I was 11, my father 26, or maybe I had a mentor or something. But you know what? In this day and age, there are certain people that I have never even physically met who have had a major impact. One specifically. So hopefully one day, if y'all got her on any of these social media profiles, tag her. Her name is Sarah Blakely, and she is the CEO and the founder of Spanx. And I'm gonna tell you why I
Okay.
decided to highlight her story. First of all, if you ever have had a chance to hear Sarah Blakely speak, it's just you know how you could just tell when someone's personality like she's a billionaire and the way that I grew up, anybody that had major money like that must have been a jerk, mean, rude, something they had to do to get to that level. And
Right.
when you see Sarah and you see her personality and you hear her story, she is quite opposite from what you would expect. A billionaire, self-made, well, not self-made, but she started from nothing and went to billions. It would be quite opposite. But her story, let me tell you about her story, what I love so much. So when she was younger, and I believe it was her father would have her and her siblings to try out for stuff that they knew that like they were not qualified to try out for, like stuff that they knew that they would not be able to necessarily get, right? And the
Right.
reason why her parents instilled that into her is because we didn't want you to be afraid of being turned down, being afraid of being told no.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the way that many people are brought up, many of us, is we get put into these stuff where we know we're going to be good at. We want to get the honorable mention. We want to just get the participation of being there, like the award for participating. And I love her story for that. Another reason why I love her story is because when she shared her journey of how she started Spanx, first of all, everybody thought she had lost her mind. And I can relate to that. I can relate to being in places where I'm making a decision to start something and people think I have lost my mind. I
Yeah.
also loved her hustle. When she started Spanx, she was going in stores every single day. And the funny thing about her story is that most people think that when she finally made it to Oprah, the gates opened and she didn't have to do nothing. No, she said that's actually when I had to work even harder when I finally got
Yeah.
that position on Oprah. And a lot of us thinking like when I finally hit this level, everything will be great. No,
And now the
nothing
floodgates are
comes
open.
easy, right? And so I love her story about that. And then most importantly, she is a mother and she is a wife.
Nice.
And, when we look at women in entrepreneurship, a lot of times we think that in order to make it to that level of success, we have to sacrifice that life too.
Oh, I'm
And
glad
she
you
has
said
not.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, she has not. Now, I'm not saying I don't believe that it's probably easy, but she also has a very successful husband who already has his own businesses. And so like I really love her story and she definitely is someone. I mean, I have her on my wall in the house, her, Oprah, I got a couple other people there. I talk to them all the time. But yeah, so that would be another person who I normally never even talk about as far as an inspiration who has truly inspired me to be the woman that I am today.
Are you on that wall with them? Cause
Of course.
okay, I just wanted to
Of
ask.
course
I just
I'm on
wanted
the
to make
wall.
sure.
Yes, I got the biggest picture.
Absolutely, as you should, as you should. Let them
Yes.
know who's who.
Uh-huh.
I hear that. It's so funny you say that because sometimes I wonder where like these societal ideas come from. Millionaires and billionaires are assholes, and they just treat people like this, and there are too many people like that. But you meet some very successful people, and they're as down to earth as anybody else in your life that you ever considered to
Absolutely.
be golden, and you just go,
Listen.
wow.
Yeah, and a lot of times we get intimidated too. We don't want to talk to them. Listen, I like to put myself in those environments where you have these extremely wealthy people, and you are right. Those can sometimes be some of the most down to earth, willing to tell and help you on anything people that you will ever meet.
Yep.
And so, listen, and she's the same. Like I haven't had a chance to speak to her, but I've been around and I pay attention, and so I can't wait for the day though that one day that I do get a chance just to say a couple words or a whole sentence or lunch dinner or something like that. Whatever it is, it's gonna happen.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything. I hear that. Okay, let me ask you this. So specifically with authors,
Hmm.
what is it about helping authors to get paid that really interests you very much?
It's so funny that you asked that because books is not my purpose in life. Like helping people write books and stuff, that's not my calling. That's not my purpose. That's a vehicle. My
Yeah.
calling is way bigger than that. And so I believe that I was brought here in this world to really show people how to turn something that they love to do and be able to live off of it, right? And so the
Okay.
book is a part of this entire purpose work where we teach you how to create a tool, right? A tool that you can leverage
10K
to build
book.
your business, right?
Yeah.
When I was in the network marketing space, what happened was, Jamal, I had hit one of the top levels of leadership. I was making more money than, top 3% of people in the United States. I mean, really getting it. I mean, over 300 plus $1,000 a year,
Right.
truly having, level of success. But ironically, there were still a lot of people who don't really like the industry of network marketing. It's been given all these different types of names, which I get
Oh
it
yeah.
because the statistics will scare some people. I don't want to get into it, but they will.
Hmm.
And so what I decided was, I was like, you know what? In order for me to get in certain rooms where they may not see what I do as a real business, how can I position myself as an expert? And that's when I wrote this book right here, A Six Figure Vision, right? So I
Hmm.
wrote this book. And when I wrote that book, Jamal, doors started opening up for me that I never imagined. I have always been the girl when I find something that works or whatever it is, whether it's personal, whether it's business, I've always been the girl to always want to galvanize people and show them how to do what I just did. And
Yeah.
so that has just always been in me. Like even as a young girl, I was always wanting to start clubs. I was always wanting to create programs like, hey, y'all, we're going to all put our $5 in and we're going to do that's just always been me. So I finally found something where I was like, wow, I can actually show other people how to leverage a book and really get on some platforms. So that's kind of like where it started. And, I initially started helping people to write books, but that's not what I always wanted to do. My goal was to be able to show you how to use your passion, your purpose, and be able to build multiple streams of income while also enjoying this world. Because I am not the believer of team no sleep. I am not the believer of you
Yeah.
can sleep when you die. That sounds crazy to me. Like the less
I
sleep that
agree.
you
Like,
get, the quicker you are to your deathbed. So no, I need my rest. Okay.
yeah, right, right.
And this world is just so beautiful. So I want to travel the world. I want to smell the roses. And so I want to be able to help other people to do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's hey. It's all about helping other people. This is a people journey. We need help from each other. And one another thing I discovered is sometimes, you hear like, oh, you're all by yourself, every man for himself. But the more you get around people, you realize people are willing to help.
Hmm.
People are
Absolutely.
willing to help. You just have to be willing to speak up and ask, which is hard in some respects because how some people may treat you, but that's not everybody, and it's definitely not all successful people, right?
Definitely.
Let me
Definitely.
ask you this. Let me throw this in here. So my sister also said something to me about books, and I just wonder, what is it about a book that you feel like opens the floodgates for like business opportunities for people?
Because it's a great tool that you can use to like edify you without you having to edify yourself, number one. So it's a good way for you to brag about yourself, right? But
Hmm.
number two, just like when we talk about these societal ideas, everybody has always looked at someone that is the author as the expert. When you think of the word authority, you can't have authority without being an author. And so when you
I
write a
like that.
book talking about something that you know how to overcome, the funny thing is nobody ever questions, do you really know what you're talking about? And so this
Hmm.
creates that positioning so that when people see you, like there's so many books I've read where I never questioned if this person is really living that, but it was such great content, it worked. You know what I
That's
mean?
a good point,
So
though.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so being an author, it positions you as the expert. I mean, you could be an author and really sometimes get just as much uh, uh credibility as some people who've spent years and years and years to get into their craft. And the thing is, you ne- when you write the book, it's more so about what it is that you know how to do, something that you have overcome. And
Right.
we overcomplicate that process too, just so you know. But
Hmm.
something that you know how to do, I guarantee you, millions of people right now are Googling that. And now you can be able to teach and educate other people through your book and leaving a legacy through your words.
So being an author, in a sense, can equal like fast credibility,
Absolutely. It's immediate credibility. As soon as
immediate
you,
credibility.
if you want to teach people how to do XYZ, say I want to start a candle line, I'm going to write a book about how to create your own successful candle line. Nobody's going to question me. if I know what I'm talking about, especially if I actually have candles, because that they probably gonna ask like, "Well, do you got some candles?" But now
Right.
you have a tool that you can actually pass out and leverage, and also a book is easy to sell. It's the easiest thing to sell when it's done right. So if you title it right, you don't have to convince somebody to buy a book. Everybody is investing in information. It's still a huge industry, the information industry. And so it just really sets you apart from others who are in your same space, especially if you do it right. Now, that's a whole nother conversation. Most authors, they
Yeah.
don't write the right books. They don't position their books the right way, which is why majority of most authors never make any money.
Mm, very good as well for a segue. Because I have to ask. I mean, how to not be a broke author, 10K book, right? Six-figure vision. What do you think people do wrong as far as like not monetizing their books?
Well, the first thing is most people think that everybody want to hear their story. And I know this sounds crazy. Everybody,
Mm,
when I tell you, Jamal, I've helped over 6,000. So just imagine how many people get on the phone with me and tell me the same thing. I need to
yeah.
tell my story. My story is different. Everybody that is watching this, I promise you, everybody's story is
Right.
different. Everybody's story is unique. But the truth is, most people do not care about your story if they don't even know who you are, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
would say the time to write your story is when you walk into a room of 5,000 and everybody knows who you are. Outside of that, what people are really looking for, and you got to pretend when you're looking at people that are your potential readers or potential customers and clients that they have a big sign on their head that says, how you gonna help me though?
Right.
Help me. You know, like kept oh Lord, hold on one sec. Let me pause.
Okay.
Okay. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
because look, I got this Apple computer and it done some little update. So how you gonna help me? You know, like Kevin Hart used to say back in the day, help
Help
me,
me.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you gotta look at people. And most authors, when they're writing the books, they're thinking about themselves. They think, I just want to tell my story. And the
Mm,
truth is, it's one segment of your life that you could really be able to impact so many people, right? So that's the first thing is writing the right book.
write the
Now,
right
people
book.
will try to
Okay.
tell me all day long what to read. You don't listen. I'm trying to tell you guys until people actually know who you are without you having to tell them who you are. The best book to write is something that's going to show them how to do something. That's why, in the genres of books, the top genre is self help, right? The
Yeah.
second reason why I believe that many authors don't make money is because they're only focusing on selling the book. When I talk about the 10K book, trust
Mm-hmm.
and believe, first of all, I never became an author to sell books.
Right.
Remember, I told you at the beginning, I was in network marketing. I was trying to gain an authority space, right? So I
Yeah.
wrote the book to build my influence, to build my authority. So I don't focus on selling. I focus on how many qualified people can get my book in their hands, whether it's through me giving it away, gifting it, doing specials and stuff like that, because it's a marketing tool. If you are trying to make $10,000 a month selling your book, and this is if you sell your book on your own website, not these third-party sites that everybody want to sell on, but if you're
Right.
selling it yourself, you literally have to sell over 667 books every single month to make $10,000. But if you could focus on
Interesting.
selling or getting 50 to 100 people per month with your book in your hand, and you have additional products and services, now you're able to leverage
Yeah.
the book to build multiple streams of income. Does that make sense?
That makes
And
a
then
lot
the
of sense.
third
Yeah.
thing I would say marketing, but that's most businesses. It's not only authors that are failing in business, it's all a lot of coaches, it's a lot of speakers,
That's a
it's a
good
lot of
point. Yeah.
entrepreneurs. Like marketing is important, and we have to understand that if we want to make money, we got to be willing to invest into our marketing. That's typically for most entrepreneurs the last thing they want to spend money on. They just want to post on Instagram all day long to the same people who's not buying, who's just watching and creeping, and that's not marketing. So, you know, when you get this book, you listed on these third-party websites, that's not marketing. Just because you posted it on your social media, that's not marketing. You have to be willing to roll them sleeves up and get up in the trenches and market yourself. So those
Yeah.
are I would say my top three reasons why.
Get in the trenches with marketing. No, that's serious. That's a good point. It's just easy to just sit behind a computer and just post some stuff. You know what I mean? And hope it
Exactly.
goes viral, hope your hashtags are correct. But you're right. You got to get in those trenches. You got to get to those events. You got to meet people.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to meet people.
Absolutely.
Okay, so one thing I've heard in business several times that I've always found to be true is that the power is in the follow-up,
Mhm.
right? I've heard this in network marketing circles of, I mean, just you name it, right? I'm pretty sure you've heard it. Talk about why that's important. What is so big about following up?
Well, the reason why, well, first of all, 70% of most sales are made after you make your initial offer,
Mhm.
presentation, whatever you say, this is how much my product costs. How would you like to get started? 70% of most sales are made after you follow up. And it takes about 5 to 10 times. It might be about 7 to 10 times of where you actually have to tell a person, like, okay, how do you want to get started? How do you want to get started? How do you want to get started? Think about it.
Mhm.
Most of us have seen a lot of these ads, and it's finally like, you know what, let me check this out, right? Like
That is very
Timu.
true, yeah.
I want to use Timu as an example because I've been like fighting Timu, like get away from me. But now I don't
Don't
watch
fight
the
it.
YouTube about their story and how they came up. Now I'm like, you know what? Let me
Now
get
they
one
got
of
a
these little
commercial on
trinkets
TV,
that I
yeah.
don't need. But people, we have to understand that people are not going to always buy on the first go round. And
Yeah.
so if you don't have a system in place that allows you to be able to follow up with people, just pretend you're leaving 70% of your money on the table. So most people, they only
Mm.
want to offer it one time. They're not building up a database. That's another thing. My focus is not, I don't care about Instagram followers and LinkedIn and being an influencer and all that crap. What I care about is building up my database. How many people can I get their email and their phone number so that I can be able to get in contact with them, let them know
Mhm.
when I'm doing a webinar, invite them to, you know, a conference or an event that I'm doing, because that's all a part of the follow-up. So we have to remember that most people are not going to buy on the first go round. This is why being able to follow up on many ways is important. Now, there's different ways too, Jamal, that you follow up. So follow up, what I'm saying, follow up, I don't mean just picking up the phone and calling the person or texting, but you have email. You can also follow up through DMs. You can follow up through by tagging them on different things. There's so many different ways. You can follow up by sending them a postcard in the mail. You got to realize that if you are going to really be successful out here in this business, not only is marketing important, but that follow up got to be strong. People
Yeah.
say that when they get on my list, they say, Taurea, you email me so much, there's no way I can forget about you. Cool. I'm cool with that.
Right,
You're
right.
not going to forget about
Long
me.
as you
I
don't
am going
forget,
to stay
right.
in front of mine, right? So
Yeah.
that's very important. Absolutely.
Okay. What would you say is the biggest lesson you learned in business?
The biggest lesson. You know what? I'm gonna talk about collaborating because I love collaborating. But
Okay.
through the years of collaborating with others, I've also been burnt in many different ways. Now, I could easily go and blame the person that burned me, right? I could go and say, you know, well, this person, I worked with this person, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't, you know, I referred people to them. They didn't refer me nobody, or we did a partnership and they didn't. You know what? Let me tell you what I've learned. When it comes to leadership, when something don't happen or work the way that you want it to work, or when something doesn't work out the way that you have planned, you got to
Mhm.
look within. That's nobody else's responsibility. So every single time that I've ever collaborated and it didn't work out the way, see, before I might have would have blamed them, but today I've had to learn that, Taurea, it's really your fault, because you should have had a clear understanding with them up front of what you expected from them and vice versa. You should have made sure that you understand what did they understand what your expectations were. And so
Right.
it's important, guys, because by yourself you might be able to impact 1,000 people, but let's say you bring another person who can impact 1,000 people and you collaborate with them. Together, you can impact 10,000. And
Hmm.
so,
Yeah.
collaborating is absolutely important. And another thing, we can collaborate with people who do what we do. 8 billion people in the world. There's no way that we all can be like serve all 8 billion people, right? I don't even want to serve
Mhm.
at one time. Over the span of years, I'm going to impact millions, but at one time, imagine, I don't want a million customers at
Oh,
one
that's a lot
time
at
at the
one
same,
time, yeah.
right? That's crazy.
That's
So we
crazy.
have to learn how to collaborate. And remember, guys, in any situation, don't always look out. Look within and see where you could have done better so that there would have been a better understanding before you guys partnered up.
I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Okay, what are some other key business practices of yours? That sounds like a key business practice. As a leader, you always got to look within. What are some other ones?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, listen, I'm always, you know, another thing about my key business practices is that I'm always searching for ways to continue to keep on pushing the needle, right? So I
Mhm.
don't stay complacent. My program that I started, even Book Profits Club, we launched Book Profits Club in 2019. Where it was back then to where it is today is crazy. We've invested into an all-in-one software for our clients. We now have some AI technology. We have leads. Like I have a software now that we're testing out where I literally created a lead in an ad in less than 10 minutes. I went ahead and clicked it to go live. Facebook approved it in like 10 minutes or less. Like that's
Nice.
unheard of, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm always looking for new things to continue to keep on pushing the needle, because one thing that I do understand is that if I stay where I was last year, then that means I'm already below or behind where everybody else is going to be. You're not going to be able to catch up to me. Okay. That's one thing I'm going to tell you. You're not going to be able to catch up to me because this is something that I love to do. Also,
Mhm.
another thing I think that's a very important business practice is don't be looking at what everybody else is doing. Like, don't easily get distracted. I have to tell this to our Book Profits Club members all the time, because many times we'll go and look and see what somebody else is doing. We count in other people's pockets. We
Yep.
looking at their success, and we say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do what I'm doing and let me do something else. Let me tell you something that helped me. They thought, Jamal, they thought I lost my mind when I decided to walk away from network marketing and start coaching. Everybody's like, oh, she tripping. Like she could easily be at $1 million now in income. I don't
Mhm.
do what I do as just for the money, right?
Right.
I do
Because
what
you
I
were
do
doing
because
it.
I love to do
You
it,
were
right?
doing it though. You
Yeah,
were.
exactly. And so what I made a decision though, when I made a decision to step into this coaching space, I wasn't looking at what nobody else was doing. I
Mhm.
wasn't easily wavered by what they had, easily wavered by their recognition. I'm happy for them, but you cannot throw me off my course. When I said this is what I want to do, that is exactly what I stuck to. And so it's a very important that we understand that, because it's so easy, especially with social media, to be thrown off. I can't tell you how many people that I work with every single year, they always switching up who they serve and how they serve. But when I go back and ask them,
Mm.
well, have you followed the success schedule that we give you? Have you consistently followed it for 90 days? None of them have. Well, Taria, I'm not getting the results because you're not doing the work. And you also have
Right.
to understand that in order to get results, it is not something that happens overnight. When you plant a seed in the ground, it don't just grow overnight. An oak tree does not become an oak tree in 5 days or 30
Right.
days. An oak tree does not even become an oak tree in 90 days. The
Right.
size of an oak tree does not even become the massive size in a year. So imagine for us to think that I'm supposed
Wow.
to try something for 30 days, and if it don't work, which by the way, I don't know too many people that will stay consistent with the activity for 30 days in a row, right? I don't know too many people. And
Right.
so we're always looking at what's the next, who else can I work or what else can I do, but we're not doing the work that we're supposed to do. So if you
Right.
stay
Exactly.
consistent with the game plan,
Stay
you will
consistent.
have success. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
know that, I don't really, I don't even want to give you some over the top additional techniques, because the truth is success is a principle. And if you're
Mhm.
willing to stick to the principles of doing the work every day, staying laser focused, not looking left, not looking right, making sure that the people that are in your ear gate are helping you to get to where they are, you will be able to get there as well.
Yeah. Wow, man. Yeah, being consistent is very important. I was actually watching a TEDx, and it was funny. The guy was saying you can learn anything in 30 days as long as you do 40 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that, I was like, "Is that simple?" That's simple. You know what
It
I mean?
really is.
It
It
really
really
is. The
is.
consistency is the key, man. Okay. What is one of your favorite quotes that you live by? Like just something.
So one of my favorite quotes is actually one by me, of course, and I say people don't
Hey,
remember you
okay.
for the car you drove. They don't remember you for the jewelry that you owned or the clothes that you wore. They remember you for the impact that you had on their lives. And I believe that. Like when it's all said and done and God calls me home and he said that you have done your work, they're not going to be talking about what I was driving and what I was wearing. They're going to be talking about how I impacted their lives. And so that is something that I
That's a good point.
continuously do my best to focus on. Like, I'm not driven for things of this world. I'm driven for something that's called legacy and being remembered. I even have this, like, I said, when I do get called home and it's time for my funeral, I am going to have in my will that whoever wants to come up and speak, I don't care if the funeral is 3, 4 hours long. I don't care. Whoever want to come up and speak and just share how I've helped them, they're welcome to come. And that's the truth. Like, I want it to be, I've impacted so many people that that's how long my funeral going to be. It's going to be just all day. Okay.
All day.
So all day, all day. Mhm.
Okay, hey, you on that wall with them other women. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with you having your own quote. I like
There.
that. I like that.
Yes.
I've actually heard it said a different way that they may not remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that was big
Absolutely.
for me because I worked in the school system with children.
Mm.
I always try to tell the adults, I'm like, look, these kids need to know you're in charge, but you do not have to talk to them like they're nothing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They're gonna remember that.
You're framing a lot of the way that how they're going to be living their lives. So working with
Yeah.
kids is such an important job. And so definitely kudos and I commend anybody that works with children in any capacity, however you do. It's such a tremendous position. And yeah, we got to remember that because people will remember that. I know people who are 70 years old and they remember how they were treated as children or talked to as children. It still impacts
It's
them to
deep.
that day. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's very deep.
Hmm.
Okay. This question is more of a standard one, but if you could change anything about the world, what would it be? I'm interested to see what your answer is.
Oh, I probably have so many different things that I would change. But I would say if I could change anything about the world, I would change. I really didn't, because I didn't even want to think about what I wanted to answer in that question because there's just so many different things. I would
Hmm.
say ultimately, number one would be having more love than judgment or hate.
Oh, that's
Um,
good.
and this is even something that I've had to work on, judging, looking at other people's lives. Social media will have you caught up in the sauce, looking at somebody like, dang, man, like, what are they doing that I'm not? But what if we just focused on loving and being grateful and being in a space of just gratitude and how things would be so much more easier and better for us? And so I
Yeah.
wish that we could live in a world that was better in that way of judgment. And honestly, I think that it would make things so much more easier for us if we just focused on gratitude, focused on being grateful for the day, waking up, not focusing on keeping up with the Joneses, not focusing on trying to pretend or prove. I hate that whole saying, "Fake it till you make it." No, 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 no. I don't believe in faking it till you make it. I believe be yourself. I believe be every day work on becoming a better version of yourself. So
Yeah, be
if we can
authentic.
live in a better space of gratitude, I think that the world would be so much better. Yeah.
Okay, throw me another one. It's a bunch of them. I want to hear what else. Just curious.
Okay,
Since
if
you
I could
know.
change anything else in this
Yeah.
world, our educational system is a piece
Oh,
of crap.
absolutely.
So listen, I can get into some more stuff. I feel like the way that we are teaching our children to grow, it's like we teach children to lose their imagination. This is why, like, if you think, and I always say, like, some of the best people to look at and follow are kids before they've been tainted, right? Because
Yeah.
kids can, you think when you were a child, one day you wanted to be the president, the next day you wanted to be, it's just you were
An
able to use
astronaut.
your
Yeah.
imagination. As a child, you haven't been taught through the world of what is right and what is wrong. You're only taught by what you can picture. And so
Hmm.
I wish that we had more educational programs that would allow children to be a little bit more free spirited, allow children to be able to kind of still you teach them the structural stuff, but also give them the ability to know that they can be and do anything that they wish to be. I know that there's some schools that are working on that, but overall our educational system is crazy. I mean, look at it. They even got companies right now where many companies, corporations are saying we're no longer going to require for you to have a bachelor's degree. What a whole lame situation that we all had to go to college because they told us that was the way to win. Now we got this degree that none of us are using, and we spent
Right.
all of this money, put us into debt that many people still are paying their debts for their college education. And so I wish that our educational system was different. If I could change it, I would. I would want kids to be able to first learn about entrepreneurship, but also learn what service means, because some people are meant to be entrepreneurs and leaders, some people are meant to serve and understand that even in the Bible talks about the different gifts that we have. And I
Hmm.
wish that if we as children, we would be able to better identify what those gifts are, so that then you can grow and flourish in that even faster. So I think that would be great. What else could I change in this world?
Hey,
Well,
hey, keep it going.
I can't go too long because I gotta get ready to go. But
Well, just one more. That's fine.
another thing I think I would change in this world. Let me see. Let me narrow it down. I would change this. Don't got nothing to do with business, but I would change society's idea of marriage, um, and
Interesting.
relationships. So the
Yeah.
reason why is because I am a single woman and I talk about being single all the time. Um, I never fell into the idea of that in order to be, an accepted woman, like I need to get married. Have I had opportunities to be married? Yes. Like have I
Hmm.
dated someone? But I just didn't never I never saw that for me. In my 20s, I didn't even want to get married. And then in my
Hmm.
30s when I decided to settle down. But now it's like you always are pressuring women and men. And I see so many people get into these marriages where you feel pressured because your grandparents, who probably were set up, or they probably got pregnant young and they had to get married.
Had to do it at that
Back in
time,
the
right?
day, it was different, right?
It
And so
was.
I wish that the idea of what it's like to be a woman and what it's like to be a man, I wish that we could, really change that and go back to the space of gratitude. Like I said, go back to the space of just love and let people to be themselves. Because, child, I get judged so much
Yeah.
because of that. And I also have like my married friends who are always like, well, when you gonna settle down? And then it kind of like will mess me up, to be honest. And so that would
Yeah.
be another thing. I know that's random, but
No,
this is
that's
me
not
being
random.
me.
That's a
So
big conversation piece nowadays. That's a big hey, no, that is a big
yeah.
conversation piece, and I agree. Just the difference of how society viewed things then versus how they view them now. Because
Yeah,
another
it's
thing,
totally
just on
different.
that topic, I used to say is, while older people knew how to stay together, and I'm like, but there was also a lot of secrets and stuff going on too.
Exactly. A lot of kids, a lot
A
of,
lot of
and
side
listen, they
kids,
stuck
family
together.
drives out
My
of
grandma ain't
town.
work no job. So where she was
Right.
going? Where she
Where's
gonna
she
go?
gonna go? Right. She didn't have nowhere
And
to
that
go. She couldn't leave.
it's different. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff too on relationships and marriage. And just uh, it's like a lot. So I feel like let people get married when they ready. When they ready to get out of them streets, when they really want to settle down and enjoy lives, like let's not force that into what we look at as what a successful life is. Because for some
Yeah.
people, they may not ever get married, but they at the end of the day have been lived a life of happiness, lived a life of love, fulfillment, and that is okay. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Yeah.
No, I completely agree.
Thank
Hey,
you.
that could be a whole nother show because
It
that was
sure
good
could.
stuff.
It
That was
sure
that was
could.
good stuff. Okay, all right. I know you got to get ready to go. So, what advice would you give entrepreneurs just starting out?
Well, what I would say is this, because a lot of times I'll have people that'll hit me up like, hey, I want to start a business. Can you help me? Start a business
Right.
doing what? I don't know. I just want to start a business. First of all, let's go back to this again. Everybody ain't meant to be an entrepreneur. So just because social media makes you think it's sexy, some of us, it is okay to work a job that you love working.
Yes, it
Never
is.
let somebody trick you out of your position, okay?
You
So
should
if
still
you
love it
love
to
your
your point.
job, seriously, like if you love your job, if you love what you do, if you want to climb that ladder, it is absolutely okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But when it
Yep.
comes to being an entrepreneur, the first thing you need to figure out is what is something that you love to do. With social media and technology today, literally you can turn any and everything any kind of passion into opportunity. You got people who literally go on YouTube or some of these streaming sites. What's that the young guy's name? Kai Sanat or something like that? I don't even know if he's 20 something, right? This boy
Mm-hmm.
is about to be, they'd say he on target to be like a billionaire, okay? The
Mm-hmm.
boy is getting a bag. And guess what he do? He just sit on live stream all day long. So you cannot tell me that a young man that all he do just be live. They be doing little funny things and joking around, but they just be live, and he's getting the bag. So I know that every single one of us, there's something that you're passionate about. Guess what? It may take some time for it to build up, though. So
Hmm.
now that you figured out something that you love to do, then you need to find someone who is having some sort of success in that space. Don't come to me
Okay.
if you want to start a store. I don't got nothing for you. So a
Right.
lot of
Right.
times people will come and say, "Can you coach me? I want to launch a store." No, I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
I can't coach you on a store because I don't teach stores. So, and this is the thing: you will have some coaches who do not teach that. They're not ethical out here, and they'll say, "Sure, sign up into my program, $20,000, and I'll show you how to be able to do the store." And they don't do
Eh,
nothing with stores. So
Right.
make sure, guys, when you are finding that person, it needs to be someone who is having success in the space that you wish to have success in. Be very specific. That is not my responsibility to figure out what you're passionate about. You've got to figure that out, or you need to leave that between you and God and ask God. I happen to find a vehicle in books, but this is not my purpose. This is just the vehicle. So you got to
Right.
figure that out, and make sure you surround yourself with people who are moving and grooving in that space as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I appreciate your time. I really, really appreciate your time. I'm gonna watch this
Oh,
back, and
excellent.
I know so many things you said that were really good. That was one of them.
Oh,
Find people in your space. You know, 5 people you hang out with the most predict your future, right? Hang with some people who are doing things, moving and shaking. Absolutely, Taurea. Thank you
excellent.
again. Thank you so much for this interview. This was great. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Jamal. Thank you so much. And you can have me back anytime. I'm going to holler at you soon.
I will. Okay. All right. Bet I sure will. I sure
All
will.
right.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in, the Jamal Bathia Show. Excuse me. This was great. Uh, every Thursday at 7 o'clock. Upload a video, interview something. You can find me here. Until next time, we appreciate you if you tuned in. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.